The Canadian Agri-Food Policy Institute is driving bold policy solutions for a resilient Canadian agri-food system and building a stronger future for Canadian agriculture. Visit capi-icpa.com to discover how.
I'm Amber Bell, and this is Real Agriculture. Today I have with me Phil Mount, who is the Vice President of Policy with the National Farmers Union. Welcome, Phil. It's great to see you.
Thanks for having me, Amber.
Now, the National Farmers Union just had their annual meeting. Tell me a little bit about what you guys do, what the meeting was, and specifically one resolution that we're going to talk about today. What was adopted at the meeting?
Great. Well, so our annual convention is a chance for farmers from all across the country to get together. And in the case of resolutions, what we do, we have delegates from all over the country, and they bring forward ideas that have been passed at a regional level or at a local level, and they bring them to the national convention and debate them and discuss them and decide on which ones are the ideas that we're going to be giving priority to as a farmers union in the year to come. And in the case of this year's convention, which was in Moncton, New Brunswick for the first time, one of the key ones that's got a lot of interest from certainly from media across the country has been the idea of supporting a guaranteed annual income for farmers.
Right. Tell me a little bit about that. I mean, it's an interesting idea. A little bit harder because we run our own businesses, right? So talk to me a little bit about what that resolution included.
Yeah, I mean, the National Farmers Union has a long history of supporting guaranteed annual incomes and basic income guarantees. Like in 2016, the membership passed a resolution calling for a basic income guarantee for all Canadians. So that's more on a broad level. But we've continued to speak out for a guaranteed annual income. In 2023, we helped author the agricultural case for a basic income. That was a study that came out during the pandemic, essentially folks compiling sort of the case for basic income guarantee in different sectors of the economy. So that was the first time we sort of focused on the idea of an income guarantee in agriculture. And then just last year, the NFU passed a resolution to explore the feasibility of a national farmer pension plan so that all farmers could continue to produce food, provide employment, and be able to retire with dignity. And sort of trying to address the link between land prices and our retirement income. But what this one in particular is looking for, this guaranteed annual income for farmers resolution, it was brought forward by the folks out of Prince Edward Island who have been having their own conversation around a guaranteed annual income in that province. And basically, it just recognizes that, particularly for new and young farmers, the challenges of getting into farming and making sure you can keep the farm running, operating, and try to build, some strength and some resilience into that farm operation, especially over the first 10 years. We all know how hard that can be. But, in this day and age with especially the prices of land going up like they have, it has become harder and harder for folks to get into farming and stay in farming over that critical window. So that's the main impetus behind this resolution.
Now, the amount that was chosen is $50,000. Talk to me a little bit about why. I mean, on one hand of things, some people might be like, well, that's not a lot. You couldn't live off $50,000. And then on the other side, it could be well, why should they be guaranteed 50,000? So talk to me a little bit about that.
Yes, I mean, I have to say, when the way we look at these, the resolution is the first step in a process, right? So, by all means, the proposal was for 50,000 a year. That is a ballpark number that is meant to signify a living wage, if you will, but a living wage within a context, right? The context is farming, and where, as we know, like lots of folks make profit in agriculture, but plow that profit back into the farm to help to grow, to help to achieve a more stable income for in whatever ways they use that profit. It quite often gets put back into the farm. So this is just to signify, recognize that ideally folks would get a living wage and sort of have that burden lifted off their shoulders while they continue to build their farm business, in whatever ways they can. I mean, obviously, the number itself is going to be relative. It's going to be contingent on, where the pilot is, what scale the pilot is. Is it a national pilot? Is it a very local pilot? What's the cost of living where it occurs? All of those things, but those are very much in the weeds and certainly something we haven't developed yet.
Right. The average wage in PEI isn't quite equivalent to the average wage in Alberta, let's say. So
Yeah,
definitely.
or on the doorstep of Toronto, for example. Yeah, no, there's
Right.
quite a bit of difference there.
So how would a guaranteed income interact with current federal and provincial support programs?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of things to be said about that, right? So I'd say lots of folks would say that the guaranteed income has to be seen as an income floor. It's not something that would replace or dismantle existing supports like the the Business Risk Management Program, or social safety nets or anything like that. This is just an income floor. But at the same time, I'd have to say, like, current farmer income supports aren't really working for small and mid-sized farms, and that captures like most of the folks who are new or young farmers, right? And so, like agri support, the business risk management programs offered by Agriculture and Agri-Foods Canada, agri insurance, like they disproportionately support large agribusiness scale enterprises and don't focus so much on support for small and mid-sized farms. And so that's typically who would be targeted by this guaranteed annual income.
Right. And how do you respond to concerns about program cost or potential disincentives for productivity?
Right. I mean, yeah, as I mentioned, we haven't gotten into the weeds about eligibility criteria or safeguards to prevent abuse. Um, So, like I mentioned, the resolution is the first step in the process. But what I would say is, like, the NFU has a large network of allies and supporters in the academic community, including a number of NFU associate members who have been working on designing a basic income guarantee program. So this isn't something that's a new idea in Canada, and certainly lots of academics have been working on developing this. So this is one of those instances where we don't have to try to invent the wheel. We stand with friends who've already done this work.
Right. With that resolution being the first step, what are some of the next steps and what initial steps are you asking the federal government to take?
Yeah, it's not entirely clear that we would be asking the federal government. This pilot program might be more useful or better positioned to provide useful information if it's in one jurisdiction, and that might be provincial or even municipal. And so that's another piece we'll have to determine. But whatever the determination, the pilot will definitely need guaranteed funds over the course of the pilot, which in this resolution, it stated that the ideal would be a 10-year pilot window. So we'll be looking to the federal government to fund this as one component of a nation building project that focuses on rebuilding the heart of agriculture in this country, right? By investing in new and young farmers and the infrastructure that they want and need in order to feed their communities, a nation building project that rebuilds resilience in our farming community. Diverse, regionally based supply chains, right? This is something we had within my lifetime that support the development of regional production, processing, and distribution. Again, all of that has gone away in my lifetime. This isn't some pie in the sky ideal, but it's certainly a nation building project worthy of the term, right? We're talking about regional economic development. We're talking about supporting healthy rural communities, circular economies, and something that really energizes the new and young farmers that I've been talking with. And I mean, I want to make it clear there are a lot of new and young farmers out there who want to get into agriculture. Like, there is no shortage of folks who want to do this. So, what we're looking to do is ensure that these folks not only are encouraged to get in, but to stay in farming. Right. And the vision that these young folks have, by and large, one of the things that really gets them going is the idea of ecologically regenerative production. So we have to, be able to support these new and young folks because a lot of what they're looking to do doesn't necessarily run with the current model of markets that we favor in this country with our supports at a federal level. And so we need to find a way of supporting these folks and the type of production that they want to do that's going to feed their communities. So we need to be able to grow stable, skilled jobs in our communities. And I'm talking rural and urban. And that's the kind of vision that we build nations with in 2025.
Well, it's a really interesting resolution. I am looking forward to hearing what comes of it and what comes of the lobbying position that NFU is taking. I want to thank you so much for your time. And that was Phil Mount on Real Agriculture.
Thanks, Amber.